to everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Managing Your Priorities as a Parent, the third in our family mentoring series. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. My name is Joy, and I'm the Administrative Director for Wise Family Group. Wise Family Group is your partner for helping you live a happy family lifestyle. With that said, let me introduce our speaker, Emmalou Penrod. Emmalou Penrod is a wife, mother, grandmother, retired school teacher, author of the book Navigating the Educational System, and the family behavioral coach with Healing Your Families. She earned a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education with an endorsement in Family Education and a Master of Arts in Educational Counseling. Her experience and values have taught her that families are the foundation of society. She's passionate about making the world a better place by strengthening families. Let us give a warm round of applause to Emmalou Penrod.
Thank you, Joy. I'm delighted to be part of Wise Family Group. I know how important it is for young parents to feel that they have time and wealth freedom. So our topic for today is going to be on, I'm going to share my screen. As we begin this webinar, I want you to think about what is your target in life? What do you want out of life? What is most important to you? So we can address priorities. You have so many options in life, so many things to choose from. Obviously, there's wealth and material possessions. As a parent, you want to provide the best for your children. Of course, it's delightful to live in a comfortable home and drive a late model car and have plenty of money to use as you choose. And there's nothing wrong with that desire for wealth. Money can do a lot of good. Money can feed the hungry and provide shelter for the homeless, and it can provide your children with opportunities to learn and grow. It can provide for an education for anyone who wants to learn and have a professional career. This is certainly a value that's very valid. And there's wanting to have good physical health. Well, that makes sense. We know that we can prevent diseases and health problems if we take care of our bodies, if we eat nutritious foods and take the time to exercise and get adequate sleep. It makes sense to care about our health and value that. And then there are so many opportunities with what we can do with our time. Success can be defined in so many ways. It could be gaining a positive reputation in your career, becoming well known or recognized, giving back to future generations, and volunteering, giving your time, sharing your gifts with the world. So many things that can bring you joy and happiness. And of course, for many, success is defined as a happy home life. How important is family time to you? Maybe you feel concerned that you don't have as much time to spend with your children as you would like. Maybe you may even feel like you're missing out. And we know that your role as a parent is to love and accept your children as they are as you prepare them for independent adulthood. And doing this requires time to develop a rapport with your children, to build trust. You know that as they go through their teen years, your children will be making decisions that could impact them well into their adult life. Naturally, at that time, you want them to have a mentor, someone who can help guide them through this rather treacherous time. And of course, you want that to be you. When you begin young, your children are most impressionable up to the age of about 7 or 8. That's when they want to be with you. They want to learn from you. They want to please you. They want to do what you're doing. And this is when you have the most influence. When you have time during this stage in their life to be with them, to start developing that strong relationship that can adapt as they grow and transition as they do, you're in the best position to prepare them to be an independent adult. When they become teenagers, they start developing their own interest. They don't have as much time or desire to spend with you. So it all comes down to your values. What are those things that you hold dear, that you cherish, that are most important to you? Now, here are just a few examples. And values don't necessarily have to be either or. You could very well have freedom and good health, have some independence, and yet still have some good, strong family ties. The point is understanding what your values are. If you haven't already, I encourage you to do a values inventory. And this is very simple. If you just Google list of values, you'll get several offerings of 100 to 200 different values, different things you want. So print that out, go through that list, and start circling any of the words that resonate with you. Then go back, because you can't really have it all. Again, time is our limitation. We only have 24 hours in a day. But go back and start to narrow it down till you finally arrive at 5 to 10 values that matter most to you. The most important things. If I accomplish nothing else in my life, at least I have these. Now, this is an important exercise because life becomes much more meaningful when we identify our values and then live in congruence with them. You may have the most fascinating, high-paying job in the world. You're making lots of money. But if it's not in alignment with your values, what you want most out of life, you won't be satisfied with it. You'll feel dissonance in your life. So, when you've identified your values, then ask yourself this question. Am I making decisions based on my values? If you value travel, do you have a way to include that in your life? If you value spending time with your children, are you able to do that? You know, you have a job or a career. One of the reasons is to provide for your family. You may also have a value to excel, to exceed at what you do. But keeping in mind as a parent that your value to provide for your family can be accomplished in more than one way. If you're in a career field that demands 60 to 80 hours of work per week, and by the time you get home, you are so exhausted and the children are already in bed anyway, and you realize, I'm missing out. I'm not spending this valuable time with my children and being a pivotal role model for them. It may be time to consider another career field. Ask yourself the hard question, am I in a career field that matches my values, that gives me what I want out of life? Maybe ask yourself, is it time to consider another career field? If you resent the time you have to be away from your children and in the office, what about working from home? Is that a possibility? Would that allow you to live more in alignment with your values? and being able to be around them more, see them more, and still manage work? Is there a way to arrange that? You know, this pandemic has taught us many things. And one thing employers learned is that their employees can work from home and still be productive. They can still reach their production goals. So maybe this is a discussion you could have with your employer. Is it possible for you to do more from home so that you're enjoying more time with your children? And we're familiar with the saying, if you want anything done right, you need to do it yourself. This is true, but is this always the best solution? Are there those routine tasks that you could delegate? Can you train team members to do them? Now, they won't do them exactly as you would do them. They may not be as effective as you would have been. But the important thing is those tasks will have been done. And it's done, and done is better than perfect. And if that's good enough, it would not only free up your time, take more tasks off your plate, but also give your team members an opportunity to learn new skills and have growth of their own. And if it benefits the company, it's good business. Would it be appropriate to have a virtual assistant? Are there some non-essential tasks that could be assigned to them? And using technology, we have a lot of tasks that could be automated. Are there those parts of your job that you may love having control over, but it could be delegated to another person, a virtual assistant, or technology? And that would free up more of that precious time that you could spend with your family. Consider delegation. If you value family life over career, does the way you spend your time reflect that? And if you aren't, is it time to make some changes, to rethink how you're providing for your family? Is there another way to do it that's more in alignment? So let's review 3 things to consider. Make sure you're in the right career field, the one that is matching your values. And if you're sure you're in the right career field, explore the possibility of working from home. Will that be in alignment with your values, allow you to gain the fulfillment you want from your career and meet the value you have for spending time with your children? And then, are there non-essential tasks that you could delegate? These are 3 ways you can make sure you can keep work from encroaching on family time. Remembering that value of providing for your family and keeping it balanced with the value of being able to spend that precious time with your little ones, to have the influence that you want to help shape them and help prepare them to be a successful, independent adult. Now, you schedule time to go to the gym, you schedule time for work. Is it easy for you to say to a friend, I can't do that then, I have a work meeting? Well, probably not. We accept that we schedule in what is important to us. What if you scheduled family time the same way you scheduled work? What if you could say, I can't come then, I'm taking my children to the park, with the same confidence and conviction and finality that you said, I have to go to work. We live in congruence with our values when we commit to them. So set aside blocks of time on your schedule that you will spend with your family. Schedule a weekly date with your spouse, bedtime stories with your children, taking them on outings, working on projects around the house, and just because times. Now, I want you to take a minute and remember, think about your childhood. Think about what you remember. What are the happiest memories about your childhood? Are you thinking about the furniture you had, the toys you got for birthday and Christmas and other holidays? Or are you remembering the time you had to spend with family? Those special vacations, those just because times that you just popping popcorn and watching a movie. Create those precious times with your family. Schedule it in, make it a priority, and practice saying, I am spending that time with my family. Again, you have the dual providing for your family and spending time with them. So learn to say yes to any opportunities that are in alignment with your values that move you towards your goals. And then learn when to say no. And say it with a smile. Obviously, if you're talking to your employer, be very polite and respectful. And you may offer an alternative. I'm not available then, but I could do it this other time. There will be times, emergencies happen, and there will be times that you may have to cancel a family outing because something critical came up at work. But if that is the exception and not the norm, it makes a huge difference. Your family will understand and accept that because they know that you have made them a priority and you do all that you can to put them first. So now that you have managed to carve out that special time with family, how do you make it enjoyable? You know, there's family time and then there's family time. You know, sometimes family time means listening to arguments and whining and complaining and disagreements. But if you want this to be a successful, something we tend to repeat, anything we found rewarding. So if you want to create that family time that's rewarding for everyone there, and everyone says, yes, this was great, let's do it again. Here are a few ideas to remember. Begin with gratitude. As parents, we tend to notice what's wrong, what needs to be fixed. Well, instead of looking at the crumbs on the couch and the toys all over the living room floor, look at your children and think how grateful you are to have them in your life. Appreciation goes right along with this. Appreciate the good things they do. It's very easy to pick out when your children make a mistake, when you want to correct them, you want them to do everything right. But catch them being good. Appreciate their strengths and teach them what their strengths are so they can learn to believe in themselves. Now, respect is huge in a family. Many people feel it's even more important than love. Think of the times when you've said something cruel or hurtful to someone you loved that you may have refrained from saying to someone you respected. When we respect someone, we want what's best for them. We want to help them reach their goals. Respect is especially essential when it comes to conflict, because inevitably, when you schedule this special family time, there will be conflict. Anytime you have two or more people sharing living space and time, there is conflict. It's inevitable. But if you begin resolving that conflict with respect, it can be done without contention. Think about it. When you find yourself disagreeing with someone, it's natural to see them as the enemy. You have to prove that you're right and they're wrong. But if you begin with respect and you value and want to hear their opinion as much as you value your own, they're not the enemy. This issue that's coming between you is the enemy. And now you're collaborating with them to solve the problem, rather than your children being the enemy because they're leaving their toys all over the living room floor. It's the toys on the living room floor that are the problem. And now you're collaborating with your children. How can we solve this problem? How can we meet my needs and your needs and make everyone happy? Respect is huge in making the most of your family time. It's also a life skill you're teaching your children on how to resolve conflict with respect, how to get along with others. Most of all, make it fun. Think about your best friends, the people you enjoy spending time with the most. Isn't there laughter involved? Shared activities that everyone enjoys, and fun. If you want to create those memories that will last a lifetime and help you build that relationship, nurture that relationship, build that rapport, gain that trust, have these quality family times. When you choose your priorities, remember the greatest joy in life is found when you live in congruence with your values. So, I recommend you take a values assessment. Find out what your 5 to 10 core values are, and then make sure your life decisions are based on those values. Determine your priorities, set your goals, take steps to make sure work is not infringing on family time. Schedule time with your family and protect it. Make the most of the time you spend with your family and make those memories that everyone will remember fondly. 50 years later, you'll be sitting around reminiscing about those times. Build that rapport. Build that trust for that lifelong relationship. Now you can contact me at emmalou@wisefamilygroup.com with suggestions for future webinar topics, questions, or concerns. I'd love to hear from you. What are the greatest challenges in your family? And thank you for your attention.
All right, thank you so much, Emmalou. Grateful that you provided us with such an excellent talk, and I hope that everyone here learned a lot. So, let's start on with the questions. If you have any questions, anything you'd like to know, anything you'd like to have clarified, just send them down below at the questions portion, and we'll be happy to get to you. All right, so we've got one question. So it says, suppose you cannot get time from your boss. What should you do?
I think that's when you need to ask, is it time to look at another opportunity? And again, your values are, you have more than the role of a parent. You also want a rewarding career. I think, though, most employers recognize that they want their employees to be happy. So if you have that kind of a relationship with your boss, have that talk with him. Explain how you feel and what it is you want, and maybe negotiate. Maybe there are some things, there will be some days that you can work from home and that works out well. Talk about the delegating. Are there some tasks he's given to you that maybe someone else could handle? So it requires a lot of negotiation, and again, begin with respect. But if the employment really isn't fulfilling your values, again, you might want to consider finding something else first and then wishing your boss well. But I know that is that delicate balancing act. I think when you let your employer know that you want to be a valued employee, you want to give your best there, but you value your family and you wanted to make sure you had time with them, it might be the best approach.
All right. Thank you. So for the next question is, can we get in touch with Emmalou privately?
Yes, you can email me at emmalou@wisefamilygroup.com, and I believe there will also be a link on the dashboard, I think on my page, and you can just click on that and you can contact me. The best way is to contact me by email, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or concerns.
All right. On to the next question. I visited the website and noticed that you will have other webinars on wealth. When will that be starting? So our next webinar that surrounds the topic of wealth and wealth building will be held on November 3 at 1 p.m. EST, and it will be facilitated by me, and I hope you you get the time to check us out, because the talk will be done by Curtis Banks. Again, that's on November 3 at 1 p.m. EST.
And can I just add that I know Curtis personally, I've worked with him. And one of the biggest challenges for young families is money, it's finances. It can lead to a lot of discord, a lot of stress. So, understanding how money works, understanding how to accumulate wealth is vital. So that's one of the things I really appreciate about Wise Family Group is the training they're providing on managing money, one of the most critical issues in any family, and learning, how to keep from paying too many taxes, how to invest it, what's the best wisest investment, how to manage it. How to plan for your retirement. This is the perfect age for that. You have time on your side. So I really appreciate the way this group provides this training for parents.
Thank you so much, Emily. That means a lot, and I do agree. Wise Family Group does provide the perfect opportunity for uh, our age or people my age to how just learn how to better manage their finances and their time. So, do we have any more questions? All right, so I see that we've got other questions here. So, how do I explain my time at work to my child so that they will be able to understand that I can't be around at every moment they want?
Oh, that is a good question. I remember we had one son who would cry when his dad had to go to work. And it's that you through building this rapport with them, through communicating to them how much you love and appreciate them, and that's using positive words with them, making sure you're speaking in their love language, saying the words, giving the physical affection, doing things with them, and letting them know how much you value them. And then explaining that part of your job as a parent is to provide for them. And that means you need to go to work and earn money. And you can also help them understand, they have tasks to do too. A child's task is to learn and to grow. And maybe they are going to preschool or school. And explain how, they have time to do that. We have time to do all of the things in our life that are important to us. and you cherish the time you have with them and look forward to it.
Very well said. On to the next question. Nice webinar. Loved it. But what if I committed to my son to have a day with the family, but suddenly I had some urgent work matters? How do I tell him so that he'll understand?
You know, if it only happens once, if it happens all the time, he's not going to believe you anymore when you schedule a family outing. But if it happens once and you can explain, I'm thinking of how you put it in a way that they can understand. Maybe explain a time when they were sick and they couldn't do what they normally did. And just, sometimes something comes up and it changes our plans. And we just do the best we can, and we'll be doing this outing another time.
All right. So I hope that answers your question. The next one is it okay if I start slowly when trying to create more time for my family?
That's probably the best way to do it. I think you're right. Rather than making a major drastic, unless you've decided you really do want to get into another career field, making small changes is a very good way to adapt. Yeah, I think it's good.
All right. So Emily thinks that it's the best way to approach things. And on to the next question. Is bringing my son or daughter to work a good way of spending time with them?
It depends on their age, the nature of your work, how involved they can be. I When I was working, they had the National Take Your Daughter to Work Day. They were worried about, girls learning to have careers. And I'd love that. It was a bonding time. We're visiting as we're traveling there. But again, it would depend on the setting. Is it a setting where they could sit by your desk and draw, or that you will still have time to interact with them, or would they end up just kind of being off in a corner while you're busily engaged in other meetings? If it's a situation that you could spend time, interact with them throughout the day, and let them see what they do, let them see what you do, let them learn about your job, then yeah, that could be a wonderful. But if it's stressful, and if they're constantly being told, no, you can't touch that, no, you can't do that, it wouldn't be fun. So
So it's
yeah,
more of a case to case basis, right?
yes,
Right.
definitely.
All right. So the next question is bringing oh, wait, I read the same one. What's the best way to figure out my child's love language? Wonderful webinar, by the way.
Okay, your child's. I didn't hear the last word. Your child's.
What what's the best way to figure out my child's love language?
Watch their behavior. Are they when you try to hug them? Are they pushing you away, or are they coming to you for a hug? Then they definitely love physical touch. Do When you express your love for them, how are they responding? And of course, children probably love all of them. They'll love gifts. But as you observe your child, you may notice that they respond more to one than another, especially when they're hurt and upset. What do they respond to the soonest? Which seems to soothe them the fastest? But I think just by start out with all of them, and I think
And just observing, right,
yeah,
as we
just
go.
observe
Yeah.
her.
All right. So next question is, how do I prioritize my life as a new parent when everything feels important and nothing feels easy?
Oh, wow. Except that you have just made a major life change and give yourself time to adjust to it. I love the maternity paternity leave. If you can get that time and away from work and be able to focus on this new role, that's very helpful. And just give yourself time to adjust to this change of having this little person in your life. You're not going to get, your sleep isn't going to be the same. You're going to have to learn to deal with that. You're not going to be able to do things when you want. But as you focus on that relationship with this child and get that in a routine, then you can start adding the other things. Then you can go back to work. But yeah, give yourself time. You wouldn't expect yourself to jump up and run a race after you just sprained your ankle. And I'm not saying that having a child is like spraining your ankle, but you need time to adjust to that and rest. Rest is going to be huge.
All right. So we've got a few more questions here. Is there any time when it is necessary to punish them? I'm assuming they meant children. And what kind of punishment do you recommend if so?
Well, I'm a firm believer in discipline over punishment. Punishment infers either taking something away or doing something negative, something they don't want. Discipline is teaching. And there can be consequences when you discipline a child. Children are learning. They're trying to regulate their emotions. They're trying to learn how to navigate in this adult world. So they need a lot of teaching. They need a lot of instruction. And so I think there are times when they need to be taught, no, we don't grab food off of other people's plates. That's not the way we do. That's not what we do. And demonstrating, saying this is what, if we want more food, then we ask, demonstrating and teaching them. And then there are times when there may need to be consequences if they are persisting in hitting their younger sibling. And you've taught them, no, we don't hit them. Then there may be a time to say, I can't let you hit your younger sibling. When that happens, I need to separate you. I need to have you be in your room, or there's a consequence for this behavior. But I see that as more positive when you punish a child. For example, like think of the way, again, bring in respect. That respect, you're respecting your child. And you wouldn't teach your spouse how to be more loving by slapping them. And so you don't teach your children more effective behavior through any type of verbal or physical punishment of, either spanking or scolding. I think you communicate what is acceptable and what is not. You have that structure. You have that. This is what's allowed. But I think it's done with respect for their feelings, and with the idea, the goal is to teach them better behavior.
All right. That was also very well said. It actually made me think about, I guess it made me think about how important it is, like, uh, for a parent to discipline their child without, I guess, permanently damaging relationship with them, because it's very, I mean, it's very easy for you to go overboard, and I guess repairing relationships aren't really that easy. So it's something that we always have to be mindful about, if anything.
Yes, but I also want to add that be gentle with yourself as a parent and
Mm-hmm.
realize that you're not perfect, and there will be times when you have all the love in your heart and you want to teach them as effectively as you can, but there'll be there times when life happens, you lose your temper, you end up saying something you didn't mean to say, and it's really powerful when you can apologize to your child and I shouldn't have said that, I lost my temper, and assure them you love them, and don't beat yourself up because you're human, and sometimes you get stressed and you lose your patience. Just just move forward, keep doing better. And children can really be very forgiving when they can see that predominantly you are loving and kind, and you apologize when you make a mistake. They can forgive you and they will love you. And in fact, it strengthens that bond. You really want to lose your teenager's trust, try to put up a brave front and act like you don't make mistakes. You need to be vulnerable with them. They need to see that you make mistakes, but you apologize and you improve, and then they learn they can do that too.
All right. So on to our last question for the webinar. What age group are we focusing on mostly?
And in Wise Family Group, it would be like from birth to early elementary school. But I end up talking because, eventually I'm looking at the full big picture. But, and the best time to get started, again, when they're little, that's when you have the greatest influence on them. You start then and build that really good, nurturing relationship, and that'll save you a lot of headache later.
All right. So that is our last question for today's webinar. If ever though, you had any more questions, you can always reach out to our Facebook account, Wise Family Group, or our Instagram at Wise Family Group. Or you can also reach out to Emmalou. She has her contact information at www.wisefamilygroup.com. And I sincerely hope that you learned from our esteemed speaker, Emily Penrod. Thank you so much for spending your time with us, Emmalou, and to everyone here. We really look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. If you'd like to rewatch this and all of our past webinars, visit www.wisefamilygroup.com, and you also get to see the schedule for our future webinars when you check out our website. So at Wise Family Group, we help our members know the ins and outs of time management, which allows them to spend not just time, but quality time with their family. Wise Family Group also helps our members with knowing everything that they need to know about when it comes to building their wealth. And it's something that only the rich usually know about. Through expert mentorship with professionals that have accumulated years of experience and knowledge, you get to consult them about your family's most specific needs. So yeah, remember to check out Wise Family Group on Facebook and Instagram, and we can't wait to see you on our next webinar. Bye-bye.